Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm so glad you're here watching today. Let me know with a comment that you can see me, you can hear me. I can see your comments already, so I wanted to start by saying hi to some of you. Hello, Jocelyn. Good to see you. Cynthia's here. We have Marcia and Pamela. Of course, SCT is here. I'm not sure which one of you is actually on leaving comments today, but thanks for being here as well. Lisa, Karen, good to see you guys. I am excited to be here today and kind of do this SCT partnership with you guys. So thank you to SCT for inviting us to be part of the partnership on their YouTube channel. And today I get to talk about one of my favorite things, which is Halloween. I don't know if anybody else joins me with that as one of their favorite card making holidays. I've said before that I don't get into all of the costume side of things. I've never quite been crafty enough on the sewing side to make costumes and do all that fun stuff. But one thing I love about Halloween is candy. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit later on. I mean, I don't just love it about Halloween. Truthfully, I love it all year long. So candy is one of my favorite things, which is probably why the Halloween holiday is one of my favorites. So we also get to talk about our new Halloween release. So I'm excited about that. We've got more comments pouring in. Hi, Megan, it's you today. Hello, Mindy. Jen's here. Kim, good to see you. Melissa, Penny, Yvette, awesome. We got lots of people joining us today, and if you're ending up watching this on replay, then welcome to you too. Feel free to comment along. I always come back and try to answer questions if you have them, so feel free to ask as we go. And I shouldn't forget this part. If I haven't met you before, I should introduce myself. So I am Taylor. I am the owner and the creative director at Tailored Expressions, and we are coming up on our 16th birthday this fall. So we have been doing this for a little while. It's been quite a journey and such a blessing to be part of the craft community. I really feel like that is where I started this as a crafter myself, and I still love card making just as much as I did when I started it 20 plus years ago. So I just feel so just really blessed to be part of the community of people that love doing the same thing that I love to do. So that is a little bit about me. I have 3 kids. We live in Ankeny, Iowa, which is just north of Des Moines. I know Iowa geography. Nobody probably knows. Iowa's all the same. It's corn, right? We're getting ready for the Iowa State Fair here. Actually, it just kicked off today, so that's where my kids are at today. But that's kind of one of the well-known things that happens in Iowa every kind of summer leading into fall. So exciting times around here. And it's feeling a lot like fall today. So I'm feeling Halloween and autumn in my bones. I woke up to, I think Whitney was at like 52 degrees today.
Yes.
Yeah, Whitney said she couldn't even have her coffee on the porch because it was too cold outside. Which is, I mean, if you know Whitney, she wears a parka in like June. So she's a cold-blooded person.
Yes.
But yeah, it's chillier around here today, which makes me think about all things fall and the fun stuff to come there. So yes, let's see. We've got a few other people leaving comments. Oh, Lisa, you go to the Jarsma Bakery in Pella. That's yummy. Speaking my language, my husband is Dutch, and so we love all the Dutch letters and the almond patties and all the good Dutch bakery treats. So hello, hello. Awesome. All right, well, I'm going to get started. I am going to move my camera down. And again, if you have any questions as we're going, I can see your comments. If you have any questions about Tailored Expressions or about me, I am an open book. So feel free to ask as we get started. We are going to go through a little bit of our Halloween release, some inspiration, and then, of course, we're going to get crafty together. So that will just give us some conversation as we create together today if you have any questions. So, all right, here we go. Let's take a look at what I have down here for you. This is just kind of a really small piece of what our amazing design team has created for this release. So if you checked out the SCT blog today, you will find several of these projects on the blog post. We have also a giveaway happening there. We're giving away a $50 gift card if you leave a comment. I think the question is, what's your favorite, your most memorable costume that you've ever worn? I think that's the question on the blog in order to enter yourself into the drawing for that $50 gift card. So make sure you head there. And these are the 3 cards that I created for the blog post. So you'll see those along with some of the products that I used to create with. This is the project that we're going to be making today. You can see it has a little interactive element. I love interactive cards, but one thing you will find about Tailored Expressions is I also love simple cards. So simplifying the interactive process is what I am all about. So this is actually just one die that creates these fun little interactive doors that you can open up to reveal whatever you would like. In this case, we have some new little dancing skeletons that live behind these little doors. So we'll talk more about that later. We also have an exclusive freebie. So if you have purchased from Tailored Expressions before, you're probably used to this, but every month, and sometimes multiple times a month, we come out with freebies that are offered with orders of $100 or more. And we have an exclusive one for our Halloween release. It goes through Tuesday at 9 a.m. For any order of $100 or more, you're going to get this Graveyard Shift die set. So it includes this nice border of jack-o'-lanterns along with a kind of spooky graveyard scene. And then this funny looking die down here is actually a backer for your jack-o'-lantern faces. So you can cut it from yellow or orange or whatever color you want to glow from the back of your jack-o'-lanterns, just making that process easier. This is a pretty large die, so it fits fully across a mini slim card or a horizontal A2 card as well. So you can see one of the samples that one of our design team created here, and she used that jack-o'-lantern with a yellow backer splattered on the graveyard and then kind of layered those with different layers of foam tape. It might be hard to see on the video, but in person it gives you so much dimension to kind of pop each layer up at a different height and create that fun looking card. So there is something you can do with our freebie if you end up purchasing from this Halloween release. Of course, we've got lots of other goodies as well. We have our Spooktacular bundle that creates this scene using similar jack-o'-lanterns to what I just showed you in that freebie set, but this one is a stamp and a stencil combo that allows you to do lots of fun inking techniques on your backgrounds. And then what we're going to be using today, we have our Stayin' Alive bundle that features these cute little dancing skeletons. Of course, we've got one in his Stayin' Alive, his or her, I guess. We don't know what kind of skeleton it is. But we've got one in the cute little Stayin' Alive pose there with the song lyrics kind of on there for a punny way to do skeletons for Halloween. And that is what we're going to be using on the live today. So should we get started crafting? Let me see if I can find any questions. I did forget to mention, if you do have questions, then if you put in all caps question in front of your question before you type it, that will help me pick it out as I see the comments flying by. So, all right, let's get started then. I'm going to bring in these products that are in this Stayin' Alive bundle that we're going to be using today and show you what they look like. So we are going to be using the Stayin' Alive stamp set that has a set of dies that coordinate with it. Pull that out here. And then we're also going to be using the interactive element that I mentioned. This one is called Another Door Opens. So if I pull that up into the screen, you can see you have the impress markings that create the look of the door. And then the white lines that you see here are what cut into the cardstock. And then the yellow line over here stays connected to your cardstock, so only part of that door opens, and you fold the line on the left so that your door stays intact with your cardstock and opens really easily. Now you can get creative with these by adding little window panes into this area if you want to send it back through your die cut machine and die cut a completely open window or a paned window, and then you can put your little skeletons behind the window openings as well. So just another option there. And these are the things we're going to be using today. So, oh, I forgot one more. It got stuck over here. This is not part of the bundle on our website, but it is a new stacklet. Our stacklets are our nested dies that come in multiple sizes, ranging typically from the largest A2 size down to smaller sizes. And this one's kind of fun for Halloween. It has that wavy squiggle border on the outside, and there are 7 separate dies on this or in this set. So let's get these new products out of the way. And I'm gonna start with my products. So these have already been used. I have them in my little storage sleeves that we offer at TE along with our magnetic storage panels. And we're gonna start by die cutting a few of the elements. I am going to take the squiggle stacklet. This one is the second largest that we're going to be using. And then I'll be using the door portion of that another door opens die. And I'll get some adhesive ready. I am known for lining everything up and then not having my adhesive ready. So I'll grab a few pieces here. Okay, so we'll center this squiggle stacklet on this piece of cardstock. This is poppy seed cardstock. So we're going to cut that out. Actually, maybe what I'm going to do is, let me peel that up just a second. We're going to put both of them together and then tape them down at the same time. So we'll center that, and then this one is going to go a little bit more towards the top because I want to make sure I'm leaving room for our sentiment at the bottom. So get that positioned in there. We'll go ahead and tack that down with our, this is my Scotch removable tape that I'm using. You can do this in 2 different steps too if it's easier. I'm just trying to save time here for the live today by doing it in one pass through my die cut machine. But if it's easier for you to cut the squiggle first and then put the doors inside, you can do that as well. I have the colors that I'll be using up here at the top of the screen, so you can make note of those a little bit later as we're doing our blend for the background. So I know this is a question on the blog in order to win the prize, but now I'm curious. Maybe Whitney, you want to check the blog and see what some people's favorite costumes are? I can remember our mom has always been very talented in the sewing department, and she did not pass that on to any of us. So I do remember having some amazing costumes growing up. I don't know if you have similar memories, Whitney. And for those of you who don't know, Whitney is my sister, so we share a lot of memories.
We were saying that the other day. We're like, well, we grew up in Iowa, and someone said, did you guys grow up together? Yeah, we forgot to say that. We're sisters.
Yes, in the same house, actually, and she stole my clothes and my friends, and...
I just never went away.
Oh.
All right, so
what are people saying?
They said Pirates of the Caribbean with their family.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes.
That would be a good family costume. That's one thing I haven't done either, a family costume. So,
yes.
Have I? One year we were pirates, but I think that was before we had kids. It was just John and I. And we dressed our cat up as a pirate.
That's adorable.
Oh, I remember now. That was fun.
You know what? Pet costumes are one of my favorite things.
Yes.
I don't know when it started.
I love pet costumes.
I love pet costumes.
They look so ridiculous, and it just makes me smile.
It makes me so happy when I come up to get candy and somebody has their dog like all dressed up. I just love it.
I love it. And they also, I know it's not really typical to dress your cats up, but those were our children at the time, but we got some of the best pictures of our cats with, like, you know, the look cats get on their face when they're like, I am not excited about this right now. and it just made me laugh harder. So, yeah.
I'm so sorry, buddy, but you look great.
All right, well, let me talk about what I have cut here. And you can see I was folding all of these on that impress line there, just folding them out so that that door ends up opening. You can also see the impress detailing. If I hold it towards the light, it's a little bit harder to see. In person, it definitely stands out. But one way to make it stand out even more is to give this a little bit of a blend around the edges and on those doors. Your ink is going to kind of seep into those impressions and then draw out the look of the door a little bit. I'm going to put just a touch of adhesive here on my background so I can keep that in place while I'm blending. And I'm going to use VersaFine Clair to blend this panel. When I'm blending with black ink, this is my favorite black ink to blend with. It's so rich and vibrant. It is not a TE ink, and that is okay with me because I think it has a place in the kind of ink world, and I love using it, even though it's not our branded ink. Also, if you are looking for, our black ink has different qualities to it that make it my choice when I'm stamping outline images, when I am coloring with alcohol markers, or watercoloring because it's waterproof. Those kind of techniques are what I use our Oreo ink for. But whenever I'm blending, I love this, just the smoothness of this ink and how it goes onto the cardstock. So I am kind of just using a little bit of ink, pulling from my glass board. If you have not seen or used a glass board before, I am here to tell you, you will not regret it. I know it's a big purchase, but I have never been so thrilled with something as I have been with a glass board for crafting. It's just so easy. You will see here in just a second that I can just simply wipe this clean with one swipe of I have a little alcohol spray bottle, which you can find this little cleaning kit on Tailored Expressions website. It's called our stencil cleaning kit, but it has a spray bottle, like a mini one, that you can fill with alcohol, and then just like that. And it dries so quickly. Alcohol obviously dries faster than water, so cleanup is a breeze, and then your glass mat is dry and ready to use again. Let me pull this up into the screen, and I think you can see those impression marks a little bit better now that we have blended over the top. So let's go ahead and do some more blending. I'm going to take another piece that I have cut from our sugar cube cardstock. So this is our white cardstock that's great for everything. It's great for, well, not watercoloring. You need watercolor cardstock for that, but it's great for blending. It's great for alcohol marker coloring, and we're gonna do some blending on it today. So I cut one in the same size as the stacklet that we used to cut the doors, and now we're going to blend directly to this paper in order to create the look that is inside the doors. So we'll just end up adhering that behind so that when you open the doors, you get that pretty blended look. It looks like some of you are agreeing. The glass board is so worth purchasing, one of my favorite purchases and one that I use the most. Yes, we do have this one that you see here on the screen. This is the Tailored Expressions glass board. It has some markings on it that hopefully are helpful to those of you doing stenciling. There's A2 card front and card base layers on here, 6x6 stencil markings. Of course, there's measurements up to 21 inches across the bottom and then 15 inches on the top. I think the whole size of the glass board, not the measurements, is 18 by 24. So make sure you measure your desk space, that you have enough depth on your desk space specifically to accommodate that, but I think it has been a fabulous thing and allows me to move so much more quickly and not waste paper placemats all the time. So, okay, I'm gonna start with candy corn ink then for my blend, starting at the bottom of the cardstock, and then we'll move our way up. And this has been one of my favorite color combinations this Halloween release. I have really used it on a lot of projects. It makes that kind of creepy night sky while still being bright and colorful. I know we have a couple of cards on our blog from our design team. Whitney, do you remember the card that Debbie created that looks like a black and white film of the haunted house? So she did everything in grayscale, and it was just really striking and cool. I obviously tend more toward bright rainbows, and even at Halloween, I go less spooky and more cutesy. But I loved Debbie's kind of grayscale Halloween haunted mansion. It looked truly like it was from a black and white movie. So some tips as you are blending directly to paper. You probably saw that I started off of the paper and kind of traveled my brush onto the paper as I began. And that helps me to get a nice even blend and not have those splotches of color that sometimes we end up with if we're going directly from our ink pad to our paper. That can create some issues. So I usually start by blending down here. Another reason why I love the glass mat, because I'm not wasting that ink on a placemat. I can come down and it's still wet ink down here, and I can just pull it right back up onto my paper. So that was candy corn, and now we're going to continue with plum punch. I saw Amrita asked a question. I know you were here this morning, so maybe this is where your question is coming from, but I had another live today. This is my second TE, well, I guess this one's not a TE live, but this is my second live in one day. So I'm going back to back, kind of fun. I love being crafty with all the other crafty people, like I mentioned at the beginning, and so you don't have to twist my arm to go live and create fun things. But I know Amrita was here earlier when we went live for our combo club, and one of her questions was whether we would be doing that again in 2025. We haven't talked specifically about what it would be that we would do a combo club. The first time it was our quad club, and we did a quad every month. And then this year we did a combo club, which was a stamp and stencil combo. So we'll have to come up with something next year. Any votes, Amrita or anyone else who has joined our membership program? Interested to hear if you've got any favorite product types that you'd like to see in a combo or in a club, I guess I should say.
Whitney would like an organizational tool club.
Whitney says organizational tool club. Why am I not surprised? I love it. So I started in with dragon fruit, which is a little bit more of a pinky magenta. The plum punch is a purple magenta. And this just gives me that little bit of kind of brightness in the background. And that's why I'm using this bitty blender brush instead of the large brush that I was using previously. And I just wanted kind of a little bit of that color as a highlight. And then this last color is blue corn. So this is a dark navy. And we're gonna come in from the top, again, starting off of the paper and traveling down on. And we wanna overlap what I've laid down for the dragon fruit, and that's gonna help blend this all together. I think the other thing I can tell you all, especially when you're using Tailored Expressions inks, our inks are designed to, once you've applied them to the paper, they soak into the paper and they dry back, and as they dry, they lighten in color a little bit, and they blend together so that you're gonna get this seamless, beautiful blend. You're not gonna see what you see now, which is maybe kind of a starker contrast of color. I have some more work to do up here, but you'll notice this card that has been dry for days and days looks very seamless. You don't have a line, and that's because of the ink. They're doing their job, what they're supposed to do, after you have quit doing your job of applying the ink to the paper. and they're going to continue to dry and give you that beautiful, seamless, blended look. So my tip is just to understand that about Tailored Expressions inks and to give yourself that time. Like sometimes I will walk away from something for 15 minutes and come back and I'll be like, oh, I love that. So maybe less is more to start with until you start to understand kind of the TE ink drying process and what it's going to look like after a certain amount of time. Now, another tip that I often give is it's okay to come back and revisit another color. So we have already done Plum Punch, but I decided I wanted to continue that a little bit more into the orange than I had previously. So I just brought that ink color back, and you can just keep adding over the top of what you've already done. Okay, we're done blending that piece then. Let me, once again, the magic of the glass board, we're going to just peel this piece off, and I'll grab my alcohol spray again. And if you have, Whit, can you bring me that cleaning cloth, the one right there on the glass board? So our stencil cleaning kit comes with a microfiber cloth, and we do take this home and wash it occasionally when it gets icky. But this is a great way to just wipe up your area. And I think our cloths come in a variety of colors. There are 4 different options. I guess they're not options, but it's kind of a, you get what you get with the 4 fun colors of cloth. All right. So while this is drying, I'm not going to adhere it yet. We're going to wait and do our skeletons first. So I'll grab my Misty here, and we have the Tailored Expressions Teal Misty, one of my favorite tools. I think one of the most fun things that I hear from like questions being asked are, how many Misties do you have? and you get anywhere from answers from 1 to 10, I think, might be the most I've seen any like average normal crafter. Obviously we have a lot of them in our store for sale, but up here in our craft room, of course, we have lots of these that we use at events and that kind of thing. So just gonna use that to stamp our skeletons. I've seen these done lots of ways. I've seen them, this card here has them white onto black cardstock, white embossing powder on black cardstock. And then this one that we're doing is black on white. So I think you can go either direction, whatever you're feeling. We're of course going to use our Staying Alive pose. It's my favorite one. Grab my sugar cube cardstock here, and there's that guy. And the other ones, I'll just pick out a couple here that look like they're having a good time. We need 3 of them, so we'll pick those up, and I'm going to, this is one of my other favorite things about VersaFine Clair ink. So I don't know about all of you, but I am not a huge fan of black embossing powder. I seem to never quite get all the little flecks, even though I just used my fabulous powder tool to condition my cardstock. I always seem to have one stray little bit of powder because it is super extra fine. And the way that I have found around that is I've actually gotten rid of my black embossing powder, and instead I use the VersaFine Clair pigment ink, which stays wet longer than your traditional dye-based inks. And then I can cover that with clear embossing powder, and that's how I get my black embossed elements, whether I'm doing it with skeletons or with sentiments. This is the best way to emboss those and kind of avoid the flyaway powders. I still conditioned my cardstock, so that's going to help the clear embossing powder come away a lot easier. That powder tool just kind of removes any residues or stickiness, or maybe you've got the oils from your fingers have gotten onto your cardstock, this powder will stick to any number of things, and so that's why we use that powder tool as an anti-static, so that when you're ready to take the powder off, it sticks only where you want it to. All right, get this back in. And then after we emboss these, we're going to talk about Halloween candy, as promised. You ready, Whitney? Okay.
I'm so excited.
Me too. Okay.
It's the moment I've been waiting for.
All right, here we go. The embossing gun. I'm just going to heat this up. One other thing that I do love, actually, let me turn this off just a second. I've got these here, and sometimes when you're using up a scrap of paper or you need your fingers to be nearby your embossed image, these are our mini mitts that fit around your index finger and your thumb, and they're silicone, so you can get them heated up and not burn your fingers. So another little tool. So there they are, nice and glossy. Looks like I'm gonna hit that just one more time up here. There we go. And we've got our skeletons ready to die cut. Before we do our die cutting, let's go ahead, since we're in embossing mode and we have all of our stuff out, I'm gonna go ahead and emboss the sentiment on the bottom of this interactive door piece that we've created. Got that here. And the sentiment that we'll be using says, "Open if you dare." It is in the same set as the skeletons. So let me grab those. Grab that out, and our stamps are rubber, so if you haven't used a rubber stamp before in this way, it's really not hard to line it up. We have some things that make it a little bit easier for you if you haven't used them before. We trim all of our stamps by machine, so every trim is going to be the same. We're able to program those lines to be straight so that you can see exactly where your sentiment is going to land. There's a nice tight trim around the outside of that. So I'm positioning that in the center and in the open space there. I'll pick that up with the lid of my Misty, and then I'll come back over here. I like to take a darker color so that I can see the print of the grid line, and then I can take and finesse this just a little bit so that that sentiment follows the line of the Misty grid. So then I know that it's straight. Now, if I want a little bit more assurance than that, we have a tool that we call our Misty alignment grid panels, and that is one of them that I have here. And I'm just gonna, this is a piece of laminated acrylic. It has a grid line printed on it, and you can place that over the top of your paper. And then let's just say we're gonna end up embossing this with white embossing powder, but I'm gonna take my VersaFine Clair, using a color that I can see over the top of that dark gray, and stamp that down. If I pull this up into the screen, you can see that it is straight, it is centered, and then we can pull this out of the way and know that everything is going to line up perfectly. Because I know, as well as you do, that there's nothing worse than finishing a beautiful card and then messing up your sentiment. Not that it never happens, but we have some ways of avoiding it. All right. Can we take a break for candy?
Yes!
Okay, I remembered I said after the skeletons, and now I forgot.
We got crafting.
Okay, well, I mentioned this earlier on our Halloween release day earlier this week, that I had heard that one of my favorite candies was now available in a seasonal mix. So I am here to tell you, Nerd clusters are now available in Spooky Mix, and they're super yummy. These are one of my favorite candies, and they've started making them in seasonal mixes. They had one for Easter, and I think Easter might be the first one that I saw.
Spring, yeah.
A spring one. But these are purple and orange and white. And I also have to say, don't knock it till you try it, I think, because Nerds were always a candy to me that was like very childish.
Yeah.
But there's something about Nerds attached to a gummy cluster that is just different than eating Nerds by themselves.
It's heavenly.
It's so
Let's
yummy.
try.
So my favorite Halloween candy, Nerds clusters. And would love to hear what your favorite Halloween candy is. Also, I do have to say, I found them on Amazon. So I did look at several stores, and I'll try to save you the time. I don't think they're in, at least I couldn't find them around my area yet. So I'm going to powder this again so that we can stamp in Versamark this time and emboss with white embossing powder at the bottom. All right. There we go. Pull that piece out. Did I throw away my scrap paper? I know it was here. Maybe I did. But I can't find it. That one's all wet.
Okay.
Probably with baby wipe. It's okay. I'll make do with this orange piece of paper. Nothing if not resourceful. All right, so there's that. Looks like I need a little bit more on this O over here. And sometimes I like to tap it. A lot of times I'll do it on the side of my garbage can and get that excess powder off before I heat it. So let's put this back away without creasing my orange piece of cardstock that I need to use.
Renee says she loves the chocolate bottom Halloween candy corn. What are those called?
Oh.
I forget the real, like,
Do they have a name?
autumn. It's called
It's
autumn
the autumn mix.
Yes.
Okay.
Those are my favorite too. I'm a candy
Do
corn.
we have those right here right
I
now?
do,
Because I
yes.
think we've been working on something for an upcoming, we're doing something fun this fall, and Sue, who works here in the office, has been baking some things to help us get ready, and we've got the chocolate bottomed. Are these the ones, Renee? The chocolate bottomed candy
delish.
corns? I know candy corn is also kind of a polarizing food. Some people love it, some people don't. All right, we're gonna heat this up now. All right, there we go. So you will notice that the powder tool created kind of a residue on my cardstock, giving it a little bit of a halo of white on there. I'm going to take our TE microfiber cleaning cloth. I use this as a buffing cloth. I usually keep one for cleaning my stamps and one for buffing my powder off. I don't like to use my stamp one for buffing because it's got ink all over it. So that just brings back the intense color of your cardstock and gets rid of that powder residue that you placed on there. Okay, now I think we're ready to die cut again. Let's find the coordinating dies for our skeletons. It's this one, not this one. Is it this one? This one, okay. And this one has both of the arms in the air. Okay, so I found the three that we needed. I'll bring over my die cut machine and it looks like Marcia had a question about commenting on the SCT blog. You do not have to wait for the live to be over. I think those comments are up right now At the bottom of the post, I think it has a link for you to comment, or you might have to click on read more and then at the bottom scroll to the link to comment. I know we saw it because Whitney was reading comments, so people have left comments, so I know it's an option. Somebody else was saying when they were purchasing this release earlier this week that their brother or some family member they know is a chiropractor, and so they were going to use these skeleton stamps for a fun card for them.
Gosh.
I know. This
That
one looks
sounds
like
awesome.
I didn't quite get it perfectly lined up. Sorry, perfectionist moment. Coming in here to do an adjustment. Okay, so we've got our 3 little skeletons then. And I think our die cutting is over for this card, so we can put this away now. There is a little kind of pierce in the doorknob, and I thought it would be fun to put a little brad in there. I think we all have brads, right? Left over from the days when we used brads on everything, maybe. I like using them currently on tags and little wheels and little embellishments like that. But okay, we can go ahead and adhere this down now. So we will want to place adhesive only on these portions, not on the doors, because we want those to continue to open. And I like to have a little wiggle room, wiggle time with my die cuts when I'm adhering them down. So that's a lot of the reason why I use liquid glue these days. Also, this wonderful invention, the glue press, has made gluing so much easier with a liquid that it doesn't bother me anymore to get my glue bottle out and do the liquid gluing. So I do find myself using this a lot more. And what I mean by wiggle time is once you get this down, if it's not perfectly in place, let's just say here I have it, it's not perfectly in place, I have time to wiggle it into place before it kind of cements together. And that's the time that I need. So when you're using tape runners and those kind of things, a lot of times you don't have that wiggle time to get it in place. Now one thing, let's see, I did forget to do that. So earlier when I wanted to tack this piece down while I was blending, I put some adhesive on the back, and I just want to make sure that I rub that off before I finish the card so that the door doesn't adhere when it closes. Got a little bit on this one. That is one of the things I love about this. It's Scotch Permanent tape runner, but you can easily rub the adhesive off after you put it down if you find a spot that you don't want it in. So I use that a lot as well. Okay, so our Staying Alive skelly is going to go in the middle, just like this. And we'll adhere that down again with the glue press. Anybody have fun Friday weekend plans? Whitney and I were just talking. What are we doing this weekend?
Getting children ready for school.
Oh, don't remind me.
Do we have to do that?
I mean, I do love school, going back to school, but the back to school shopping can be exhausting. Yeah, we have to do that too. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome.
Kind of. I wish you hadn't, but it does need to be done. So I buy the school supply packs from our school PTO, so I don't have to do it for our elementary school children, but we need to go buy Maddie, our middle schooler's school supplies. So that will be happening this weekend.
Woohoo! And Henry starts baseball.
Oh, yes. Yeah, our son Henry, for those who don't know, he has special needs, and he plays in a baseball league that they call around here Miracle League. I'm not sure if it's a nationwide It
Yeah.
might be.
It might be.
But Miracle League starts tomorrow again for the fall league. He played in the spring, and it's like the most heartwarming experience ever.
Yes.
There are no winners. Both teams score. Every kid scores a home run every time they are up to bat. And if they want to run all 4 bases in the same time, they can. Or they can stop on first and then go to second, and then they can do whatever they want, and it's great.
And everyone claps for them. That's
Everyone cheers on both sides. Yes.
It's so encouraging,
and then at the
they cheer on
end,
each other, and it's cute. I love it.
I love at the end the announcer they have an announcer at the game every time, and the announcer says another tie between the home team and the guests. And everybody's just happy.
Yes,
So.
the kids love it. The parents love it. It's a good time.
So that's where I'll be on Saturday. Okay, so this is coming together. I wanted to put the, the word from the Staying Alive song in each of the windows. So I have my VersaFine Claire. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to live on the edge. It's part of me as a crafter. Sometimes I choose to just not be, perfect all the time, and this might not be perfect, but I like that I can do it quickly and easily with a block. So I'm just going to use my good old acrylic block, and we're going to kind of stamp the word in each of these openings. And there we go. Looks good. And now the last thing to do is put it on. Oh, I forgot. I'm going to stamp my card background piece, this orange piece here. I wanted it to have a little bit more interest than what it does just plain. So I grabbed one of our background stamps that works nicely for Halloween, or it's just a great texture for all the time. Great for fall too, this burlap background. So we'll put that down in the mini Misty. We also have a teal mini Misty in addition to the large Misty in Taylor Teal. All right, so we'll tack that down, and then I'm going to do candy corn ink onto the same colored cardstock. This is candy corn cardstock as well.
Miracle League is in other states.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Oh, Lisa says she's involved with an organization that is doing a back-to-school giveaway of 500 packed backpacks this weekend.
Wow.
I bet that was a big undertaking.
That's amazing.
All right, I've got a few little areas that didn't quite transfer. So before I re-ink again, I'm just going to take and give a little bit more pressure in those areas and see. Looks good now. I don't even need to re-ink it. So a lot of times I will just close the lid and put some more pressure on before I go re-inking the whole stamp again. Because oftentimes, especially with rubber stamps, you don't need to ink it more than once. And there's that beautiful textured background. I've got my foam sticky strip roll. Here it is. Look at that big thing. You always think I'm never going to use that whole thing, and then before you know it, it's gone. So I love these sticky strips though, because they're just so simple to pop up large pieces, and they give them that sturdiness as they're going through the mail. You don't have any saggy middles when it gets to your recipient. A lot of times if we put them in the corners or just on the sides, then the middle of the card can be sort of saggy when it goes through the mailing system and finally gets to its destination. So we'll center that here. And then I am going to put this on just a sugar cube card base. That orange piece does cover the entire card base, but a lot of times I'll do that when I'm not sure that I want to use a colored card base, and I'll just put a full-size panel onto the whole card base. There we are. Look at our cuties peeking out. Open if you dare. All right, there we go. Let me say a proper farewell to everyone. I'll come back here a second. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. Thanks again to SCT for letting me be here for the partnership celebration. Super excited about what's coming up this fall for SCT too. We are getting ready for Crop and Create. I hope those of you who are attending are getting excited for that too. So I will be there, excited to see you there. Also, if you're newer to Tailored Expressions, we are live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. I do a live, that's 10 a.m. Central. And then Thursdays at 10 a.m. as well. Another person from our team does a live. So we would love to have you stop by our channel too and keep crafting along with us. All right, everybody. In the meantime, go share joy with your Halloween creations and have